Hey there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. It's been a while since you guys have seen my ugly mug, let alone even do a video. It's been, a long time since I've even done like a Market Monday video or a brew video, or even talked much about Magic the Gathering. So this is kind of be a ranty video. We're long overdue for a rant video. I know that I sound like a broken record for the past, 3, 4 years now. I think it was really 2018 where I started to go down this downward spiral with my relationship with Magic the Gathering. I guess this is going to be the topic for the video today because I was talking to Zach, my business partner, as well as talking to people on Discord about just Magic as a whole. A lot of people keep asking me if I'm going to go to this thing, the Magic Summit, which is in basically my hometown. Salt Lake City is a place that I spent 10 years. I still have a lot of friends there. I still have a lot of friends that played Magic there. And during the good old RTR days where I used to grind the local scenes and the competitive scenes is where I kind of got my start with the Rogue Deck Builder, and then got sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. and Gathering Magic, and was able to go to a bunch of conventions and create videos for them, and really have some very nostalgic memories towards that time period in Magic the Gathering. And that's my topic today. I know I sound like a broken record. I know people don't like the negative Nancy aspect or attitude. But one of the reasons why I haven't been as motivated as I once was with Magic the Gathering, and I've talked about this again over and over and over throughout the years, but it's really just come to just a tipping point now to where my desires just basically faded completely with being a content creator or really doing things in Magic, is I feel homeless. I feel absolutely homeless in Magic the Gathering. Like there just isn't a place for me or people kind of with what I used to enjoy Magic as. So let me give you a backstory. I've been following Dota 2 again. I go through the swings with Dota 2. I have this love-hate relationship with Dota 2. First of all, it's one of the most toxic communities you'll ever be a part of. If you think Magic's bad or you think that anything's ever toxic, just join Dota and just see how horrible that community is as far. Any sort of like MOBA, any sort of cooperative game where everyone needs to be playing their roles, I think just creates an environment that is just begging to be toxic. So a rant video for another day about that. But I always have been a gamer. Started with StarCraft 2 when I was really, really young. StarCraft, not StarCraft 2. StarCraft, good old Brood Wars days, was my first flirt with competitive play. I got to the point where I was semi-competitive, going to tournaments, and that was a time period where esports was just very, very, like, it was few and far between to even find tournaments or find avenues to actually become, like, do it like full time or do it as a semi hobby / living. But at that point, I was almost on the cusp of being good enough. Definitely not now with my reaction speed and things. I haven't even touched the game in years. But it was my first kind of flirting with, being a gamer, an actual true gamer with StarCraft 1. And then got into some other things like used to play amateur poker back in the day. That didn't end well. That's a video for another. Probably never we'll talk about. And then I eventually came back to Magic, where Magic had, with my roots, is I was introduced to Magic by a best friend in 5th grade. And we opened up our first little Fallen Empires booster packs and then revised booster packs and built decks. And I played it in the lunchroom in high school. And then when I was at college for the first time, it was an outlet for me to go and meet people. I've talked about this before. I used to suffer from a condition called social anxiety disorder. It was very, very tough for me to really meet people out of my comfort zone, and Magic was a good gateway to do so. And so I used to go and show up to Friday Night Magics at a first place called Games People Play in Orem, Utah. That was my first experience with kind of the whole scene with the Friday Night Magic, and then later on a place called Haster's Games and Comics in Salt Lake City. And then Magic took a backseat in my life where I tried to start a family, tried to get married, start a family. That obviously didn't work out. That was a train wreck of a thing. But after the breakup, the split up of that, I found Magic again, and it was a lifesaver where I was coming back from the gym one day and saw a game store, and I entered it. It was called Epic Puzzles and Games in Salt Lake City, and I thought I was just going to go blow off some steam and crush some nerds and whatnot, but I ended up making a lot of really good friends at Epic Puzzles and Games. And in fact, I think some of the people that are starting this Magic Summit, I used to play with in that community that are still, chugging along, and now they're creating this Magic Summit here in Salt Lake City. which again I know there would be some old friends there that I'd meet up with, and it was just a great group of people. Had a lot of fun. We used to then practice together, and that's where I like to make kind of the Dota comparison. Is where I used to think of Magic more of that, like I got that kind of team sport competitive thing. I used to be a hockey player, so I used to play hockey at Peak Sites Arena in Orem, Utah, and then later, or Provo, Utah, and later at the Olympic Oval in Salt Lake City with had our little teams and stuff, and we'd practice together and then go to the bar afterwards and and Magic was kind of the same thing where I had this group of people that we played with, had fun with. We had our own little t-shirts and stuff at our store. We used to go to all the conventions that were close by. If there was one in Vegas or one in Denver or Salt Lake City, we hit it, and we'd sit with our little group of friends and meet other people. You see the same people and over at these Grand Prix and stuff, and it was good. It was good times. We met some really good friends over the time period. We came together with shared interest in something. I liked the competitive scene of Magic. I thought that Magic was in a good state as far as the play design teams with being looking forward to new standard sets, looking forward to test new cards and figure out the meta and stuff. And even that aspect, I think, is just so gone from Magic. I think when they really started focusing on Commander and focusing on Arena, that aspect just was thrown out the window. And again, this is just a nostalgic video of me looking back and being like, man, Magic has gone so far away from what it once was, where it was this really tight-knit community that was more focused on, yes, I have ranted and complained about the spike mentality and when you get these super competitive players, how they can ruin Magic. But there also was like this fun aspect to it, to where, it felt like sports to me. And the same sort of things were true with the hockey that I did with Magic. We'd go to the Grand Prix, we'd meet up at restaurants afterwards, even go to the clubs or bars or stuff. These people were actually, you'd start to create these great friendships. And I'm not really knocking on like Magic Arena or Commander or whatnot, but those types of things just have never really interested me in the super ultra casual aspect to Magic the Gathering. Yes, I enjoy Kitchen Table, but if I'm going to do that, I think I like things more like board games to scratch that itch. And I've been really missing that opportunity, just that the competitive aspect, the what if, the real to scratching that itch of breaking a meta with a rogue deck. It's just been missing. And then, of course, like I said, I feel homeless. I feel it's just not, it's beyond just the as far as the competitive aspect of the game, but it almost feels like the culture, the people, everything has just left me in the dust, where I just don't see Magic the way that I used to. And maybe it is just my age. Maybe it's just, this is just old boomer me that wants the glory years back. But I think it's beyond that. I think Magic, not just Magic, but other card games, just the whole tabletop, has just been chasing the cheap dollar rather than trying to create a good game in the past few years. And I think it's really has to do with this kind of stuff, where I know my ugly mug is covering up what I'm talking about. What chasing IPs, I don't understand we used to make fun of the Oath the Gatewatch and call it, what was it? Made some sort of an Avengers jab at the Oath the Gatewatch, where they're just trying to be a cheap Avengers, where the storyline just went downhill. I've never really cared too much about the storyline, but again, it just seemed to be chasing the pleb, the scrub, the casual player with these cheap little knockoff storylines, or these secret layers, let's introduce this IP that maybe we'll get some Warhammer players over to play Magic the Gathering, or maybe we'll have this little collab with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon to bring those people over, rather than really sticking to the core of their game and trying to cater to what actually made Magic, in my opinion, the glory years, the return to Ravnica through Battle for Zendikar, I think was really just the best time for Magic the Gathering, as far as just the vibrant community, the people that were gathered together for the game itself, not all this other noise that surrounded the game. And just not even just, like I said, going after cheap dollars, but going after that's the best way that I can describe it, the scrub, the pleb, the people, the non-gamer demographic. They've just been salivated so much to try to enter those markets, to become a game of the masses rather than a game of the few, the diehards. And again, I don't know. I'm probably offending people so much by even talking about this, where but it just feels to me that that's the way that Magic has gone. I mean, it's just these things. Just look at the products that have come out. That it just seems that people aren't even excited anymore by regular set releases. It used to be. I really loved it back in the day when we used to do what was called box opening parties. So, like when Return to Ravnica was released, for the release day, at midnight at the store at Epic Puzzles and Games, everyone was allowed to get their boxes. It's like Friday on release date because it released on like a Saturday. This is, post pre-release. And everyone would get together and we'd have this mass box opening party of the latest set. And then everyone would be brewing decks and then showing up for the next Friday Night Magic and seeing what people have come up with and, theory crafting and talking with other people and reading articles and like me doing videos on rogue decks. And again, the focus just doesn't seem to be there. Mainly due to the fact that, again, they've just gone to these more autopilot-y type decks. A lot of card design is now, you can see back in some of my videos where I did the Planeswalkers, that every Planeswalker now, and today I need to do one about the ones that were released in Dominaria, are just such cookie-cutter cards, where they do card advantage, they do some sort of protect themselves, and they have some sort of removal aspect, in one package that every Planeswalker just seems to be the same Planeswalker over and over and over. If you're interested, I did a video that every Planeswalker is now Gideon from Battle of the Zendikar. And it's just boring. And if you actually look over at like Magic the Gathering Standard or even Modern, like each one of these formats has their problems, has their glaring problems with what I consider like really A, skill, and B, deck building is just kind of through the window now. They've thrown it out to just appeal to people that want to play these really autopilot-y decks where decisions are made for you, and you're just playing good stuff. All of these decks nowadays and age in the last couple standards have just been good stuff. Now, I still think it is just a breath of fresh air compared to the Throne of Eldraine era, where it was just all wombo combo must answer nonsense that just ended the game. So now we're playing this kind of grindy good stuff. Yeah, that is much better and much more pleasant, in my opinion, to play that sort of experiences. But it still, in my opinion, didn't have the depth that we saw during the good old RTR to Battle for Zendikar type days. Design just seems to have gone in that direction. Again, chasing that cheap dollar, making it more of a not such making it not such a game to where you need to invest so much time into learning the ins and outs and the skill and the really redefining or defining what your deck is supposed to do, and finding the nuances to it and stuff. And maybe I might be wrong. I need to take a look back at Standard, but that was my experience with the last Standard rotation, that the cards just really played themselves. And not just that, it was just that you auto-included these cards because the power level of these certain cards were so much higher than the other cards that were contained in them. And actually, people have complained about Standard lately, like that there haven't been interesting things. I actually do like the mechanics. To give credit where credit is due, I still think the limited environments have been so much better in these years of Magic the Gathering than they have been in the past. However, the energy just isn't even there to play limited anymore. Limited used to be a big aspect to the community. It used to have like the Pro Tours used to require limited to be played there, so people would have to really, some Grand Prix were actually just limited. They weren't like a constructed format, rather than having, this whole Pioneer focus or Modern focus was what they've done. And we have had those too, like a season. I'm glad they have brought those back. But, it's just not exclusive to Standard. I think Modern is in a weird position where the power level of Modern is just insane. The main issue with Modern, I think, is the Modern Horizons, when they introduced Modern Horizons, because they're worried about never being able to create cards in Standard that where the power level were high enough to actually be played in Modern, so they come with Modern Horizons. And now we have like this, what we joke about, that Modern is now Modern Horizons the format, because it's just so there are so many cards in Modern Horizons 1 and Modern Horizons 2 that have just overtaken the game. The games are very quick. It reminds me kind of like Legacy, that we're really in a turn 3 format, turn 4 format. And even if games do kind of grind off a little bit, you really know by the first few turns who is in the lead, where matches are more dependent on what you're matched up against than actually finding plays and finding ways to outplay your opponent. Pioneer, I think, is very similar to that, where Pioneer is just these all-in strategies that must answer threats, that the threats are so good now and the answers are so good now that it just feels like the skill just gets dumbed down when cards just play themselves. There isn't a decision to be made now what to remove. It's no, okay, they play something, remove it. They play something, remove it. Okay. Or you just wombo combo off and whoever gets their combo first. Commander has gone that route. I think releasing commanders with every set has just really made the commander format not as interesting now as it once was, where you could take bad standard cards and actually create around them, to where the feel now is just where they start creating so many cards now that are just these auto duh cards that now you're going to be playing in commander with these evergreen cards they keep creating with these sets. So it's just frustrating as a content creator, frustrating as a player that really looks back to those nostalgic days of brewing, of playtesting, of getting together with friends, with getting together with people that have the same vision of maybe grinding the tournament scene, of teams. We used to have these little local teams. We'd all wear little dumb T-shirts at these Grand Prix and be like, I remember we played against you. Those were fun. Those days were so good. And again, it just seems like Magic would rather chase the cheap dollar. And I'm just so frustrated by the cards that have come out with Infinity, with it being legal in things like Pauper and Legacy, which is absolutely ridiculous with these stupid sets. It almost feels like it now has this MetaZoo feel to it. I know that some aren't legal, but it's like if you're wearing a skirt, this card does. That's what I didn't like about MetaZoo. MetaZoo was just so weird with it's here's the casual play, but we do want this also to be a competitive game. No, when you try to do both, you become neither. And that's basically my rant about Magic the Gathering, is it's just spread out so far to try to catch that, to appeal to everyone, that it feels like it doesn't really appeal to anyone now. Where, I don't know, I guess Commander's still strong here, but we haven't fired a Friday Night Magic in so long. It's so hard to get people interested in doing a game day or any sort of competitive tournament. No one wants to show up for drafts. The pre-releases used to be where you could hold their attention for more than a week and people would still want to play the mechanics of the set, where everyone is just done and over with and on to the next new shiny thing, where Double Master 7.0 is going to come out, where it's who cares about this crappy standard set? Let's just all focus on this, where it's just lost its appeal of it's just lost the magic of once how Magic was. And yeah, maybe design has failed. I don't know. Looking over at Pauper, where they continue to have to, maybe these cards shouldn't have ever even been legal. If they're going to create these commander type sets, maybe they need to redefine what is Legacy and what is Pauper. And maybe these cards shouldn't be allowed in those type of formats if they have these wonky mechanics that just, aren't really magic-y to begin with. And I get it. You should be pushing the envelope. Magic has been around for forever, for 25 years now. So they need to be pushing the envelope with what their design can do. But oftentimes I think they just go too far. They are too reckless with their design, and it ends up just really making it weird, but then have to ban or redefine cards and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. Like I said, that's just the place that I'm at right now. And again, it goes beyond the design. It just, the whole community, it just doesn't feel like it's a place for the hardcore gamer anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've just become a boomer and look back at what I've defined what my glory days were of Magic, and I just want everyone else to accept that too and go back to that kind of lifestyle, or going back to that kind of scene. But I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in this picture just speaks 1,000 words to me, that I'm not just, I see one pro player here. We have Reed Duke here, and then maybe is this Sam Stoddard? Who is this? I don't even know who's a pro anymore. I'm just been out of it, but it's just, they've just gone for more of these quote unquote community members rather than the competitive. So it almost be like if we're looking at NFL or NHL or hockey or even Dota, and the focus would be not on the people that are trying to compete in the competitive level, but just trying to go after more of this creator level, or I don't know. Again, if I go down this road, people will start accusing me of being an ism or of whatever, that or this or that. But no, it really is nostalgic when Magic used to be the focal point, where these pro tours and these big Grand Prix and these things used to be. It used to be like, even at the local level, you'd work for it, where you'd have your local shark that you just want to beat. I can't wait to beat this guy, and everything used to be. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents I'm throwing out there with you is what's your relationship with Magic the Gathering now? How are you? I know that my subscribers are probably all from the old school days of Rogue Deck Builder. My channel is completely fallen. It's my own fault. I haven't given this channel attention whatsoever. I've been sporadic. I've been inconsistent. I've never known what this channel wants to be, where I give market advice one day, where I give brewing advice or rant videos the next day, where, again, my quality's gone down. I admit that. That's the main reason why this channel has failed. But underneath that, underneath the surface of that is actually, the main thing is just I've lost that desire to really play Magic the way that I used to. It doesn't excite me to brew decks like I used to. It doesn't excite me to do top 10 videos of cards I want to brew with, or I used to always look forward to Fridays, where it'd be like, oh wow, I can play my little janky deck here at my local scene, and other people will bring their janky little decks, and we can have this little fun little thing, and it's just not like it used to be. Not like it used to be. Interested in your thoughts too. Have I completely lost the point, lost the plot? Have I, outgrown, maybe just lost of, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with it, but I thought I'd just at least address that and tell you where I'm at. I would love more than anything to get back into Magic, to get that magic back, to get that kind of creative spark where I wake up in the morning and be like, I'd love to make a video on this card or on this theme, and I'd love to try it out and love to it just feels like chewing nails now. It feels like chewing nails is the best way to describe it, to sit down and be like, I should do a Magic video. I should I should talk about this. And it still does. There are still aspects of it. I still like the business end of it. I still like the what ifs of cards coming out that might go into a deck or whatnot. But even that has been a less fun than it used to be. Anyway, I hope you do enjoy this video, regardless of my negative Nancy attitude towards Magic. I still am not going anywhere. Unfortunately, I'm married to the game, I think, too much with going all in on a local game store, owning a local game store. I don't think I have a choice but to still be involved, at least to that aspect to Magic the Gathering. Still enjoy board games, been playing, Flesh and Blood and Pokemon still. It still does excite me to play that, but I really wish that we could find that magic again in Magic the Gathering, where people would be excited about new set releases rather than just like, let's wait till the next Double Masters or Warhammer or things that have nothing to do with Magic. Anyway, there's my rant. Hope you enjoyed. Kevin the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.